Hey guys, it's Stephen Freeborn here from freeborntrainingsystems.com. And real quick, I just wanted to talk to you about the importance of knowing when not to mobilize or stretch or try to increase range of motion in a joint. Mobility is kind of super popular right now in the fitness space. I think that's great because I think a lot of people stand to benefit from spending a little less time pumping iron and lifting heavy shit, and probably a little bit more time working on maintaining proper function of their joints so that they can lift heavy shit better, lift more heavy shit, and get a better pump on when they go to the gym. But as with most things, the pendulum kind of always swings a little bit too far to one side. And right now I feel like everything's kind of skewing towards mobility. If you've got an ache or pain, mobilize it. You can't squat deep enough in a squat, mobilize. That's kind of like the one-stop prescription to solve all problems. And sometimes it's a correct prescription, and other times it just makes things a whole hell of a lot worse. So I think it's important for everyone to understand when a joint is functioning properly, that it can be mobilized and respond to mobilizations and increases of range of motion and mobility training properly. And it's actually a very simple cue that anyone can learn to feel for, and it's something that they teach in the functional range conditioning system that Dr. Andrea Spina developed. And it's something that kind of feeds its way into why I'm such a big proponent of making sure that you're doing some kind of joint circles every day. In the functional range conditioning language, we call them controlled articular rotations. But basically, we're just saying we want to take our joint through its full range of motion. So if it's my hip, I'm simply just going to go through flexion, abduction, external rotation, internal rotation, extension, adduction, and then I'm going to reverse. So you do that with every joint every day. One of the key ideas behind doing that is, one, maintaining joint health, maintaining the range of motion we have, but it's also searching for areas in a joint where we might have some problems, and whenever those problems arise, we can deal with them immediately. And so when we know how we know when there's a problem in a joint or joint's not working properly, and it's probably not a good idea to try to tackle with a bunch of mobility work, is whether or not there's a closing angle pinch. And by closing angle pinch, all that we simply are trying to communicate is that if I'm mobilizing something, all I should be feeling as far as restricting that mobilization is stretching in the elongated tissue. So, for example, if I'm stretching the front of my leg by simply standing here, grabbing my foot, pulling it towards my butt, trying to stretch the front of my leg out, I should feel the biggest limitation for me getting a deeper stretch should be this muscle getting super stretched, super taut, and feeling a big old pull, because this is the muscle that's elongating. It's the one that should be providing resistance for getting increased knee flexion. If my knee joint wasn't working properly, or if my knee joint wasn't in the optimal position for being stretched and mobilized, one dead giveaway is a closing angle pinch, which means that as I try to stretch my leg into greater degrees, or my knee into greater degrees of flexion, I would start to feel a pinching sensation down here in the back of my knee on the closing angle side. So as this angle gets smaller, I feel a pinch. That's a problem. If I'm trying to stretch my quad, but I'm getting pinching back here, and that's becoming the limiting factor, that means there's some kind of aberrant or abnormal joint function happening. The same thing goes for shoulder. If you're trying to work on some kind of overhead shoulder mobility, say it's going full straight arm flexion or front rack position, and throwing a band on there, which is kind of a popular stretch, throwing a band on there to pull myself into greater degrees of shoulder flexion, and all you're feeling is a pinching in the front of your shoulder, then you know there's an issue there. That's a closing angle pinch, where you should be feeling the limiting factor, the restrictive thing that you're working through should be that lat, or the stuff on the front side of your shoulder that's elongating, not the stuff that's closing in on the angle. So it applies to joint circles, which I talked about earlier. So doing some kind of big joint circle, if you feel a pinch as you move into a range of motion, you know that's a range of motion you probably want to stay away from. Same goes if you think that you have a particular area of your body that needs to be mobilized because you think it's tight, and you go to take that joint through its range of motion and you feel a pinch on the closing angle side, or the side of the joint that's getting a narrowing angle. So if that was like I said, on my hip, that would be my knee coming to my chest. This would be the closing angle pinch. If it was my shoulder, it would be here. If you're feeling that pinch on the closing angle, you're not stretching, you're just jamming probably bone into bone or something into something, and that's not good. We don't want to do that. And so that's where we would want to go seek out somebody who knows about how to diagnose and how to treat pathology and possible abnormalities in movement and joint function. So mobility is good. It's great to do. It needs to be a part of a program if you want to perform optimally and feel good. But you also don't want to be causing additional problems. You know, the road to hell is paved with good intention. So I know you may be doing your mobility training with good intention, but if you're putting a band around your ankle, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that mobilization, but if you're putting a band around your ankle and you're trying to drive that knee over that toe to get more ankle dorsiflexion, but you're not feeling any kind of stretch or pull in the back of your calf or your Achilles, you're just feeling it all of a pinch in the front of your ankle, that's not making your ankle better. You're just jamming the bones in your feet and your ankle into one another instead of trying to mobilize and loosen up the tissue on the back side of the joint. That would be the tissue restricting further dorsiflexion. So closing angle pinch, don't mobilize into it. Seek somebody who can help you with that, a chiropractor, a physical therapist, a medical doctor, someone who can help you deal with getting the joint functioning properly and in a proper position to accept the stimulus that you're going to be applying through your mobility training, so that the joint can adapt to that stimulus properly and you can get the benefits you're after. If you have any questions, you want me to clarify more on the closing angle pinch thing, please reach out to me. I'm not the most articulate dude ever, so I'd be happy to talk with you, explain it more, give you my thoughts. If you want to read more about the functional range conditioning system, look for a guy named Dr. Andre Ospina. Check out our website, Functional Anatomy Seminars, and you can go read about that there. If you're ever interested in working with a coach who can help you with mobility, help you with looking better, help you with feeling better, I'd love to be that guy. Please feel free to reach out to me. You can call or text me at 417-540-8870, or simply shoot me an email at sfreeborn7@gmail.com. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, have a great rest of your week, and I will talk to you guys later.